what I think I'll do now is show you how to match the skin tones together. And we can see obviously his skin right here has much more magenta than the woman or the girl in the back here. So I'm going to show you how to match the skin up right now. What we're going to do is convert this image to CMYK, and that will allow us to easily match these colors or these skin tones up. So let's go ahead and up here to Image, Mode, and I want you to just come down here to CMYK Color. And if it asks you to flatten, and it probably will, just click on Don't Flatten. There we go. Then let's just come over here to this layer, which is our man layer here. And let's hold down the Alt key on the keyboard, and that is the Option key on the Mac. And then come down to this button right here, click on this, while you have that key held down, and I want you to select Curves. And then go ahead and put a check in this box right here. Click OK. And the Curves dialog comes up. This will help us in matching the skin tones. You can see right here where it says Channel. Well, this is a cool part about working with CMYK, and I like to work with CMYK anytime I'm doing any type of skin toning. It's because I have these magenta and cyan colors here. It makes it so much easier working with this rather than working with like an RGB type image mode. So what I'm going to do is we can look really closely at his skin here, and when there's any type of red, when you have more reds, well, there's a good chance that that means that there is a lot of magenta in that. You can see this is the magenta color here, which is sort of like a, like a pinkish color. And what we can do is always just focus on this, the middle of this diagonal line here. If you just click, you'll develop a point. And then what you can do is drag this down to the bottom right, towards the bottom right there. And if you look closely now at this image, you can see that we don't have so much of that red there anymore. Now if you see, if I go the other direction, look at that. Now that will just enhance the red. But we don't want that because that doesn't look very good at all. So let's just go this other direction here. And by decreasing some of that red, now you can see, if I decrease it all the way down, you can see now it's sort of giving us that greenish color. Well, what we're going to do is lower the magenta here, and you can come back to this and readjust it later. But let's come up here to magenta and select yellow, and we can also experiment with the yellows. Okay, so you see if we remove more yellow, then we're going to get more of that magenta type look, and that's going in the opposite direction of her skin tones that we see in the background there. So we may not have to adjust that too much. I want to come over here and select cyan, and if you have any types of blues, blue haze, or green type of look to skin, you can adjust those using the cyan setting here. And if you can see, if I increase that up to the upper left, you can see now we're getting more of like that blue type of turquoise type color. But if I go back to the lower right, you can see that it will decrease and remove that color. Look at that. And you can see this is what it was before, and this is after. So we can just come in here and switch back and forth. If we find that we need more yellow in that skin, then we can just increase the yellow. And then I can go back to the magenta. I can play with that a little bit, see how things look now. It looks like to me, as soon as if I lower that magenta too much, then it just looks like more green comes out. Well, what you can do is if you see too much green, then I'll just go back to cyan and decrease that. Look at that. And I'm just going to play with this yellow here because it looks like there's too much yellow. Now it's really starting to have a nice blend there with the face and her neck and everything. I mean, we can still see our masking job. If you look closely, you can still see along here that we've masked that, and it doesn't look very realistic. But we're going to go back and fix that up a little bit later. Look at that. And what I'll do is just go ahead and click OK, because since we've made this an image adjustment, well, we can come back to it anytime by double-clicking on the channel's image adjustment right here, and then that'll just bring it up once more. And come back here and make a fine adjustment. Click OK. There you go. So what I'm going to do here is zoom into this side of his face right here, and let's go ahead and touch this part up right here, so we don't have this like line, almost looks like a line going up here. And I'll click on this layer mask on this man layer here, and I'll select the paintbrush with a very soft brush and maybe even a larger brush. I'll just come right here, start to click on this edge. I want to try to retain as much of his wrinkles as possible.